Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the first episode of State of the Art. And I am unboxing art. And today I have a special guest, a guest that is known in the collecting community. And if you don't know him, shame on you. I'm joined here with Mark from Mark II Toys and Mark II Designs.
Yeah.
How you doing today, Mark?
I'm having a good day. It was a busy / productive day. It's always good when I actually finish a project.
That's
So
always good. That's
yeah,
always good. Intro play okay? Did you get to hear the intro?
yeah.
See, trying to get people all amped up for going live and all that stuff. Huge shout out to Josh Cox for making that on me or making that for me on short notice there. And so today, with Mark being in here, we are going to be talking about what he is doing and what his product does and brings to the table and his whole involvement. He's been in the community for a long time, and a lot of you might know him as Mark II Designs, but he also goes by now Mark II Toys. And I'm going to let him go ahead and explain sort of like where you started, what made you get into doing what you do, and I guess explain what you do.
So I was kind of a tabletop gamer kind of guy for a while, and I was primarily playing a game called BattleTech, and it's big stompy robots, and all the kind of the tabletop pieces for it were like from the 80s. They were old and kind of cheaply molded, and I just got it in my head I would try and make some updated versions of those. And so I started teaching myself a 3D design program that you can get through your browser called Tinkercad. And I was putting files up online for free, and people liked it, and that kind of led to me getting to do some freelance work for some people doing Kickstarters for different tabletop games. And that was all well and good. Flash forward just a couple of years to COVID in 2020. Classifieds comes out. There was kind of that uproar about the guns they came with, which I to this day say I thought that was a great idea. I thought like having the Nerf guns in there was completely brilliant, because I assumed they were going to repackage the old Nerf guns and put some GI Joe stickers on there, and then I was going to buy all that and have
That would
Nerf
have been
gun
pretty
fights with my
cool.
kids. I assumed that was what was going to happen. Anyway, so I just thought, you know what, I've got some free time. I was in the military at the time, and I was actually stationed at Fort Meade, so I was out by you. And my wife and kids had gotten stuck here in Denver because of COVID. And so I had all this free time, and I was like, I'll 3D design some of the old weapons, and again, I'll just put them up online for free. A huge response to that. Like, people really liked it. And wanted me to please sell them 3D prints. And like, I didn't have a printer at the time. It was still in Colorado. So I got, some people I had just been chatting with online volunteered to print stuff for me. So I could make sure, no shit, that they're the right size and they fit and they look good. And yeah, people they really wanted those objects. So I was like, fuck it. I'll do this as like a little experiment. I'll start a little LLC. I'll learn about small business. I'll get some printers. And as long as I break even, everything will be fine. And so I put up this Etsy store, and like I broke even with like in a couple hours.
That's awesome.
And like right away couldn't keep up with demand. So right away I knew, like, 3D prints are kind of fragile. Like, you certainly wouldn't want, if you're just displaying them, great. But if you give them to a kid, they're done. They're not going to last. Not at that scale, not at that size. So I knew I wanted to move on to manufacturing like right away. And it took a while to figure that out. But once I kind of had that in and got a factory and kind of started down that path, I really kind of stopped kind of putting things out there in terms of little weapons, because that's if I was going to do it, I now wanted to do it the right way. So that was my weapon sets A and B, and it took a while to physically get all the way through that first process and get them in hand, but I'm absolutely proud and happy how they turned out. Like, they're really pretty good, and the response has been great. Everyone that's got them has been really happy with them. I think the price point's really good. Yeah, it's ABS plastic, like I had to decide, like, no kidding, what's the best way to do these? And I know what for me, what I want is accuracy and sharp detail. I don't want, the barrel of a gun to kind of do some S turn. I don't want anything to look
Wait,
like a
you didn't want your guns to be able to peek around a corner?
yeah, not so much. So I went with ABS. I was in the military for 26 years. I did 9 deployments. I've never seen a gun that was green or tan or pink or anything else. Um, and in fact, the guns I did see weren't black either. They were all kind of a gunmetal. So I tried to pick a color and a variety of weapons that looked correct at this color. And I'm just super happy with it. A lot of people want to paint them up and go for it, like a little bit of a wash and a little bit of a dry brush, and wow, like they really pop. They look
just having the ones, with the one sets in hand, it was hard to choose. Like I was like, man, I like them all. Like had my favorites and stuff because I'm an AK type of guy. I own 2 AKs.
yeah.
It was sort of like my friends, like, I'm going with the AR. I'm like, okay, that feels too light for me because I'm a big guy. I'm like 6'2" and everything. I'm like, I need something with a little bit of weight to it. So I ended up getting a stellar deal on Egyptian Mahdi, and I was like, okay. I was like, I like AKs, and then coincidentally, a lot of the Cobra Troopers back in the day came with AKs, and your AK is beautiful. I want a
Yeah,
whole set of AKs.
a lot of people do. Like I've definitely had some people ask if like they can just buy 10 of the one. And it's like I can't.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
can't do it.
because you want to, and I'm gonna bust it out so people can see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, the one I have in here is the AK-74M. So that's kind of the current top of the line.
Yeah, it's not really getting all the detail, but this thing is just loaded with detail, and I love it. I mean, even though it's uh, the AK-74, I'd still put all my Cobra Troopers with them. I
Yeah.
just have that whole
It's nice. It's
army.
nice to have the variety. Like I love like when I was a kid and collecting GI Joe figures, like I loved having all the extra weapons and mixing and matching and just having options and having variety. Yeah, I'm super happy with it. Like I really wanted to do the Demro XF7 Wasp. That's the submachine gun that the original Beachhead came with. So I got that in here. I had been selling that as a 3D print for a while. And it's that guy.
Yeah, when I saw it, right when I saw it in that set, I was like, that's GI Joe straight out the jump. I was like, I had this for 3 3/4.
Yeah.
So
It's interesting. Like I really enjoyed doing these, but I never just make a gun. I kind of research it a bit because I don't want to make something wrong. Like I'm genuinely trying to make them as accurate as possible. So with that one, it's interesting. Like so after World War II, there were a bunch of companies that were trying to create the next Thompson submachine gun. And so this was one of them, the Demro, the
yeah,
XF7 Wasp.
it's
Yeah, it wasn't a great gun, turns out. And right after I designed it, I was watching Netflix. There's a Bill Burr cartoon called F is for Family. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's an episode where there's like a plane hijacking, and like right in the opening credits, this gun goes floating by.
I saw that. I never got started watching it. We do got some people in here. We got, Darth Katira saying, "Oh snap." We got Judd Johnson just sort of saying hola. We got RG in there. That's the one I was telling you that I went live with and opened up those sets. We got Tattooed Toy Hunter in there with some fire. He has a sad face, don't know why. Trevor, thank you. And then he said he didn't get have to shoot my AK today. Was a good day.
Yeah, little IQ.
And Tattoo Toy Hunter with that super chat with the super sticker. Thank you, sir. And then he agrees. F is for Family is the best. So I have yet to watch it.
Yeah,
I've been watching on Hulu. There is a like I forgot what it's called. It's like this girl that was born. She's like the Antichrist, and like her dad's the devil, which is voiced by Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
And then his mom's like her mom's like a Van Helsing, like almost like supernatural type of character that fights off demons and stuff. But that series is pretty good.
Yeah, I've seen the commercials, but I haven't had a chance to check it out. Yeah, I'm a huge Bill Burr fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as soon as F is for Family came out, I checked it out, and it's good. It's
I'm
really
gonna
good.
have to check it out. Yeah, I have a friend that's a huge Bill Burr fan too. I think everybody loves Bill Burr. I mean, he just sort of says what everybody sort of thinks.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So you saw the gun float across. I sort of jumped in there, started reading other people's chats. So you saw the gun go float across. You thought that was cool, and then like,
Yeah, it was just I wouldn't have recognized it if I hadn't kind of been playing with it. But it was impossible to miss. It just went floating across the screen during the opening credits, and then that's the weapon that the hijackers had in the episode.
now when it comes to 3D sculpting, like I'm familiar with like normal sculpting and sort of seeing people do some 3D sculpting, but your guns are accurate as heck. Like like how long does it take you to do one gun?
So depending on the gun, right? And honestly, like size has nothing to do with it. Detail is what takes more time. And I describe 3D design as more like 3D problem solving. It's like with the tools I have, how do I create this shape? So I can do one like about 5 to 6 hours. I can knock one out if it's kind of middle of the road.
That's
Um,
and
if there's
that's 5 to 6 hours of consistently sculpting
Oh
and
yeah, just
working.
sitting there working. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to think like of what's here. Like what was a tough one? The I've got a Chris Vector in here. Like this one took me a little bit longer because it's I'm just super happy with the detail on it. This guy.
yeah, that vector is sexy.
Yeah, this one took me a little bit longer.
And you guys that are watching, I'm going to be linking his website down below so you can get these packs. Like he's holding up guns that are from his A and B sets. You can get them off his site and delivered directly to your doorstep. They are, I do believe, $13 a piece.
13 for the set. A set of right now they're both sets of 8.
They come in
What I
sets
hope
like
to
this,
do
guys.
is keep the I plan to keep the packaging size, right? This will be the size of the package, and just what I can fit in there is what'll fit in there. So if I've got maybe more pistols, maybe it'll be 9, 10, 11. Maybe if
So
I've
like
got
saying
like
like this, like you could be like, okay, I could fit probably more in this spot
right,
type of
right,
stuff.
yeah.
Awesome.
But if I have like some giant machine gun in here, maybe it'll only be 6 or 7. So we'll see. I'm gonna try and squeeze whatever I can in there. Like it's the mold is the mold. Like I'm kind of locked into the size of the mold that I'm doing, and I'll just squeeze as much as I can into it.
And anybody that hasn't had these in hand, just to let you guys know, there's no, it's like he said, they're they're injected molded. So you're not getting those print lines. They're not going to be warped. It's a hard plastic. And that's
Yeah.
something that, I'm a big tickler. Like I have issues with pulling out items or weapons for my figures and they're already warped out of the package,
Yeah, I can't stand it. Like there's some, not to bag on like
You can
Hasbro,
say
but
what
like,
you could say whatever you want.
well, I
Don't
you know
hold back.
I try to be as positive as I can. I'm trying to think of the Hydra Trooper that kind of he was like a cheaper figure because he was an army builder, 6-inch Hydra Trooper, I believe it was called. And like the guns that came with it were just like they looked like chewed bubble gum. They just weren't good. But and part of that may be just because maybe they're going to kids, they have to be a softer plastic. There's a lot of laws and rules and stuff about that. Like my stuff is geared towards adult collectors. But yeah, like something like this, the L1A1 or the FAL, like that skinny little barrel I've got on there, like that's as accurate as can be, but it's like it has to be straight or it doesn't work, right? Like if you're a toy photographer and this thing is
Right.
that's no good. So I think I got the right type of plastic. So something like this, like if you force it, like you can bend it a little bit. If you force this, it'll kind of turn white and stay bent. You can kind of heat it up and maybe, but it'll eventually just break. Whereas,
Yeah.
Like a softer plastic, you can bend it in 90 and it'll slowly kind of come most of the way back. But
Yeah, and it's always hard to get those things back the way they were anyway, even if it does start warping. Like these ones in hand, just putting them in the figure's hands. I'm like, it's nice to feel putting in a gun into a figure's hand and the gun's harder than the actual hands plastic.
Yeah, no kidding. Like some of these, you know what's the worst one is the gung ho figure because the hands are just so big and thick, and that plastic's so hard. That thing's brutal. The
This is
hands on
from
that
the
thing are
death. This
rough.
is from the Death Watch Trooper from Black Series.
Yeah. Oof.
Like, this is how wobbly this thing is, man. And it's like, and what's even worse is this weapon and the one with that deluxe Boba Fett. They do not fit in their hands.
Oh,
The thumb hole isn't right. The length of the handle isn't right. So it's like it's not connecting right.
that's
So
interesting. You know, and it's part of designing these things, right? Like, so we say these figures are 112 because they're 6-inch tall figures. That's kind of where I'm playing. They're not 112. They're not. They're bigger. They're what a lot of us call hero scale, and they're also kind of sculpted like comic book characters. Like the hands are bigger, right? You draw comic book superheroes with bigger hands, so it makes them look more powerful.
right.
So the proportions of the figures aren't always exactly right. So a lot of times we got to compensate for it. You got to make the stock a little bit shorter because there's no meat to push into, right? There's no give. So you've got to make the stock
I have an
shorter.
issue with a certain weapon with a certain toy line that, like, I can't get the
Yeah.
nestled in there because it's wanting. If I did, it feels like it's gonna snap right at the butt.
Yeah. It's a delicate balance, right? You go too short and it doesn't look right. If you keep it the right length, it won't fit right. And then a lot of times the grip, you have to make that bigger just to accommodate those bigger hands. And then sometimes that doesn't look right because the figure is so oversized. There's a lot of tweaking around. At the end of the day, I kind of judge it by eye. Like I get my initial sculpt down, I do a test print, I put that in the figure's hand, and then based on that, I'll make changes.
Okay. And some of you that are out there that are already collecting a certain line, it's you guys might know it. I don't know. You might not know it, but Action Force. Everybody knows Action Force. But you did have your hands in helping out, and I think you're still helping out with
Mhm.
from series 2, where you guys had there's the Garrison Cavalry set a wave with Duster and all
Mhm.
of them. Go ahead and sort of talk about the process with that, and let them know what you've been dealing with Action Force without
So yeah,
leaking stuff maybe you
man, it
can't
was a
say.
good year and a half, almost 2 years ago now. Actually, Marauder Ruben had reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, there's this guy named Bobby Vala. I told him you could sculpt weapons. He's probably going to reach out to you." And so he did. And just I was a guy who was just like kind of really into my career, and I had my little side hobby of sculpting, but I wasn't in any online groups. I wasn't following anything. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't know there was a GI Joe community, or I would have been in it sooner. Um, so I hadn't heard of Action Force. I completely missed the Kickstarter. So he reached out to me, and obviously I was pretty excited about it. So I didn't do any of the first round of weapons. Anything that came in the prototype weapon set that came out, the one that was just all black plastic, I didn't do any of that, but I've done everything since then. So right, so the G36 that came with the Garrison Trooper, the FN 509 that came with Duster, the Scar with the grenade launcher that came with Duster, I did those. Um, the ridiculous Glock, the 18C that comes with the what is he, the Delta Trooper?
The Delta Trooper, the with the extended mag and the
Yeah.
silencer, and
So that was 100% going to be in my weapon set C. So Bobby called me up on like shit, like a Thursday or Friday, and he's like, "Hey, I've got the factory says I have room in these molds for a couple things. Do you have anything ready?" And I was like, "Ugh." Well, I've got the VSS, the Glock, and then there were two other things he wanted me to do. I think I did the Thompson that weekend and something else. So like that Glock was 100% mine, and I gave it up, and the VSS too.
yeah, because the VSS is coming with Series 3
Yeah,
with
yeah.
what's her? I can't think. I want
I
to say
can't think of
Roll.
her name off the top of my head because I'm on the spot.
Yeah, I'm on the spot too.
But
I mean, anybody that's watching should have been already pre-ordered everything from Series 3 anyway because they look amazing.
yeah,
Um,
so that Glock, no kidding, that is my favorite weapon to get in PUBG. Because I'm a bit of an I'm a first person shooter guy. Um,
we got to play with that.
yeah,
I'm
man,
on
like
Xbox and
yeah,
the
and
Series
it's
X.
cross
So
compatible. We can play. We can play.
So
Like we play almost every night, man. Like that's just how me and my 40 something friends that I've had for 35 plus years.
yep.
That's how we stay in touch, man. We're all over. I got a guy in South Dakota, guys in Florida, guys in Maryland, got a guy in Washington, guy in next to Chicago out in Illinois. Like we're scattered, but that's how we get together and maintain our
Do you
relationships,
play first person or third person?
We bounce mostly third. Mostly third.
Okay. See, I started doing first person more so just because I just like the idea that you can walk up to a wall and sort of
Yeah,
peek
like
around without like it's
no,
you
it's
know
it's it's silly. So well, let's talk about it. Have you played Escape from Tarkov?
no, I have not, but I've seen lots of
EFT.
videos.
It is the most brutal damn game. Nothing will piss you off more than playing this game. It is wonderful.
I'll have to check it out.
It's meant to be as realistic as possible. Like the stuff like you can mod every last little piece of every single gun. You want a different like rear slide, you can do that. Every different scope you can think of, different scope mounts, different rails, different foregrips. It's all there. But like if you get shot, it could break a bone. It could make you bleed out. It could cause so much pain
Oh,
that you can't see straight. So
it has
like,
that like DayZ type of like realism mixed with PUBG type of.
yeah, and it's all first person. There's no third person option. It's brutal. I love it. Like it right down to like no shit. There's what like 15 different types of 9mm ammo. And I mean like different, it's 9mm round, but the width is different. Like the gun you have to have the exact, no kidding, specific ammo that goes for that gun. You can't just like pick up a box of ammo and it works in your gun. Like you can't just drink an energy drink and your health comes up. It's
That's
brutal.
pretty awesome. I think Summit plays it. I don't know if you're familiar with like Summit.
Yeah.
And yeah, that game is like I don't think I would be able to handle it. Like PUBG is I'm already getting used to like sniping with PUBG, like trying to detect the distance and scale, get the scope,
Yeah.
in the right yardage. But I love it. New map on PUBG is I like it a lot.
The Destin, I think.
Destined.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah.
The Gulf Coast of Texas. Yeah. But anyway, so that Glock. So in PUBG, if you're driving, you can shoot while you're driving, but it has to be a pistol. It can't be an SMG or an assault rifle or sniper. It has to be a pistol. Right. So having a full auto pistol with a big ass magazine works. Like in real life, that gun is completely over the top ridiculous. It's a real gun. It's only issued to like law enforcement and military, right? Like there's I don't think they even really made that many of them, but it's a real gun. You can get it loaded out exactly that way.
Well, I would say like the reason that went in that pack, I honestly want to say it, is I think it's from the YouTuber Articulated Ninja, who bought a bunch of troop builders, and he's like, I got all these troop builders, but not one came with a pistol. And I think Bobby heard it, and that's what sort of trickled it in. But that gun is a beautiful surprise. Like it was. I should have did like a TikTok video of where it's like, oh, it's like a treat or whatever that little sound clip is, or and because it's awesome. It worked. It looks crazy, and just the detail in it looks awesome. Because you put the silencer, you got the red dot on it, or no, you got the.
It's got a laser underneath. It's got the laser. It's got a holographic sight, the silencer, and the extended mag. It's just loaded out. It's ridiculous, and I love it.
And Judd tried saying it wasn't Pandora. It's I want to say like Backblast, but that's not who she is. Bobby's gonna, if he ever watches this, he's gonna kill me.
Wasn't it Pandora?
No, Pandora is the one that has.
No, you're right. God, I'm just gonna look it up. This is gonna drive me nuts.
Yes, because that was the thing that made her stand out the most. I'm going on there too. We're all just going to who gets there first. I'm surprised nobody said it in the chat yet. You're probably gonna beat me because I went to the wrong site.
Kill
Switch, man. I should know that because I like the band. Well, when they had the singer that I liked in it. But anyway, yeah, Kill Switch is a awesome figure, and especially with that VSS, it just like a lot of that stuff. I could tell some of this, like when I saw the VSS, I'm like, that's PUBG. That's what I remember, like playing PUBG.
Yeah, like I haven't come across one in real life yet.
Would you buy it if you did?
Maybe.
I'm assuming since you served and stuff, you have a nice.
I don't know. I don't actually. My wife's kind of not down with it.
Really?
Yeah.
You have kids?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
could be it, but I mean,
Yeah.
but
I've got.
proper.
No, it's a kids thing. It's a
Oh,
kids thing.
okay.
Like you know, it was cool. Like I just because I was in so damn long, like a couple of different weapons kind of came and went in the military. So I got to shoot a lot of stuff while I was in. You know, I got to handle the M16 and then eventually the 240 Bravo, which replaced it. I got to shoot 249s, you know, saws. I got to shoot shit M9s, M14s, M16s, Mark 19s, 50 cals. You know, a lot of deuces, like a lot of stuff. And then when I was in Iraq, what was interesting was so there's a rule that each household could only have one AK or one weapon. So we'd go in and like if they had 15, like we're like pick the one you want to keep and we're taking everything else. And we would get like cars and Mosins and like old Uzis with the wooden stocks. Like they had so many guns. And I remember thinking like people say Americans have a lot of guns, but like this shit's over the top. This is ridiculous. And no one's registering shit. Like you know, like they've just got
They got a
weapons
closet full of AKs.
they've got weapons from World War One, World War Two, like all this stuff, and like no one's keeping track of any of that shit.
Man, when I lived in Michigan, one of my buddy's friends had his like own little like shooting range in his yard with like the dirt piled up, the targeting and
Little
everything.
berm, yeah.
Yeah, and we'd be shooting out there, and he pulled out uh MG1 Grand, and I'm like,
Wow.
"You're gonna shoot it?" He's like, "No, but check it out. That thing was heavy and massive," and I was like, having it in hand just like puts perspective because in video games and stuff, you see it, you're like, "Oh, it's just this wooden sniper, whatever." But when you have it, I'm like, "This thing is a beast."
Yeah, yeah, no kidding. Like so, like in the first person shooters, like I love a drum magazine because I don't have to actually load it. I don't have to actually carry it. They don't jam as much probably as they do in real life. So like, you know, it like what I'm doing is fantasy. Like I'll do drum magazines, I'll do all kinds of silly shit. But like in real life, I wouldn't carry that shit around.
No. Like even like people are like even with like the double magazines, like they don't realize it's like, all right, you shoot it, this one's gonna it's lighting, the weight balance of the gun and stuff, it throws all that stuff off. I'm
Yeah,
like, I'll just do the individual mags, like
yeah,
get the extended mags.
yeah,
But
yeah. Guns are fun though.
they are. They
Yeah.
are. But I understand the reason why you can't have them. Like I have a couple, but I would love to have an armory, like a nice little pull open the doors and have everything like Punisher style. But
Well, so this is the thing that's never made me push it because my wife's because we have the kids and she doesn't really kind of want to she doesn't want that risk, right? And it's not worth arguing about because if I buy one gun that you know that pops the top, that opens the door, I will never own one gun.
right,
I'm gonna
right.
own 0 guns or I'm gonna own 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Like I'll just keep buying them. It'll become another expensive ass hobby, right? So, you know, at some point later on in life, maybe I'll get into that, but now is not the time.
Maybe airsoft could replace it. It's not the same, but I
Yeah,
get it. I get it.
those
Now, so getting into all this, like like you started saying you sort of started printing stuff with doing the tabletop gaming. Now we're or playing the tabletop mech game.
yeah.
Now, was that your introduction to collecting and action figures and doing stuff like that, or were
No, no. I
you
mean, I was born in 75. Like so like the first Star Wars came out and like that Christmas I got a bunch of Star Wars figures and was hooked. Like it just,
okay?
you know, I reached that point in high school where I was yeah, I'm too old for that stuff and I stopped. Um and you know, I remember seeing like the Ninja Force and all the Neon Joes and thinking that's the dumbest shit ever. And now I'm buying that stuff at like 500 times what it cost. Yeah, so I had that long gap. But it was when I want to say like 94, 95 when the Star Wars figures started coming back out. Like since then I've just been into it. Like the Spawn, I like had all the Spawn stuff.
The
Um
statues.
well, I mean they weren't too statuey in the beginning. They were less articulation, but that was just
because he was
how
super
it was
ADD
in
about his designs and how he
yeah,
didn't want to
and
break the sculpt and stuff.
yeah, early 90s was just there was a lot of stuff coming out, and none of it was super articulated in the early 90s. Yeah, and then now the Spawn stuff, yeah, it's just I would rather have action figures than mildly articulated statues for sure.
Right. So do you start in like with that gap? And I'm just starting to want to use this as a comparison with that gap of you not collecting. Did you get destructive with with your figures that you had? Where you like I don't give a crap. You're like breaking them, burning them, melting them, blowing
No,
them
I
up.
mean I was doing that before because I didn't appreciate what I had. Like I would put Han Solo in a styrofoam cup with water and put him in the freezer overnight, and that was like the carbonite. Um, but yeah, no, I definitely attached figures to like bottle rockets and shit like that when I was
Awesome.
a little kid.
I wasn't the
Idiot.
only one. I remember like I buried me and my brother buried the version 2 Snake Eyes in our driveway. We never found him ever again. We buried the a Wild Bill
Yeah.
and we blew up, shot a lot of stuff. But one thing I had was like my brother was in the army, and the Boglin right there, that's just a remake. But he had a Bog of Bones original one he gave to my older brother. Like I'm like the youngest, so he gave it to the middle child, and then I got it, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool! I have it finally." And I ripped its eyes out. Like I didn't care about any of this stuff. I didn't care about like I had a bunch of Beast Wars Transformers that I left at a friend's barn when we tried doing a garage sale because I didn't care about it. And it's like now I'm like, man, if I would have kept all that,
Yeah,
you know.
you know, the worst thing ever was like the lawnmower incident of '87, where I lost most of my Star Wars collection. I'd been outside in the yard playing with them. You know, "Yeah, it's dinner
No.
time. Come in." I came in, and then it was like quiche or something I didn't want to eat, so I had to sit at the table for 2 hours. And I heard the lawnmower start up, and it didn't really think of anything, and then chung, 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 and it's like, oh
Lightsabers and heads flying through them.
yeah, yeah, it was brutal, totally brutal.
And so when you said you picked it back up in the 90s and you kept going forward, what were you collecting at that point? Just
No,
strictly Star Wars?
yeah, it was all Star Wars. It was all Star Wars. There was a handful of things, right? Like the Spawn stuff eventually, and anything McFarlane was doing, I collected for a while. And that kind of ebbed and flowed. But like, yeah, I was into Star Wars bad for a long time, and eventually, because I was in the military and I was moving every 2 or 3 years, like the collection was just getting damaged. It was just deteriorating. Every time we moved, something would get lost, something would get broken, something would get bent, busted, destroyed, whatever. And I had so much of it, like I was never gonna live someplace where I could even see it all at the same time. So I eventually begrudgingly sold that off on eBay.
Dang.
Yeah,
So we
I bought
got
something with it. I don't remember what I got. I bought some big ticket item with my winnings.
well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Judd was going through naming a bunch of things. RG said he sucks at PUBG. Everybody, you're gonna suck at any game at the beginning, in my opinion. I feel like you just got to play it enough, and you'll get better, and you'll learn. Play with people that aren't assholes.
Well, you wouldn't want to play with me. We've got this one guy that's like he just takes it too seriously and he's just gets too aggressive. All my friends are cool. I'm that guy.
You're the one's like, come on, why didn't you call it? Why didn't you
Damn it.
say it? You
Yeah.
know.
Come on. Yeah, no, I get a little wound up.
I mean, it makes sense when you're doing good, and then you like have somebody that could have just said, "Hey, 250," and like, "Oh, okay," but they
Yeah.
don't. They're just like, "Hey, there's somebody over there." Like, where?
Oh yeah, I hope he watches this because he'll know I'm talking about him. I have a one friend that's always like he's next to the tree, and you'll look around, it's just trees. It's just fucking trees everywhere. I'm like, well, that doesn't help, man. The tree by the rock. It's like, nope, still not. You're not narrowing shit down.
And
Is he
it's
north?
easy. You don't even
Is he
have to say
south?
north or south. Like, you don't even have to say it. There's numbers on the top of your screen that tells
Yeah,
you what you're looking at.
yeah,
We got RG says, I think we all had a gap in collecting during high school, college.
yeah,
Then Judd, he's an old man. He's like, I was collecting something else in high school. It sounds like STDs, Judd, and I don't think people want to collect those.
yeah. And
That
that's different.
might be too much to collect.
Mhm.
But but no, that's awesome. So you were collecting all that, and what it was really just you were playing this type of tabletop game lead you into wanting to make custom mechs,
Yeah,
and then that led into everything else.
yeah.
That's a good
It's
origin story, man.
thank you. And once I started doing the Joe classified weapons, like so many people started talking to me online, and kind of I got pulled into these different action figure groups, and especially the GI Joe stuff. And no kidding, like there's some hardcore kind of supporters that I've had, um, like Juan and Mike and some guys from the GI Joe 3D printing group. They're like their encouragement kept me doing what I was doing, like kept me doing 3D design, where I get distracted and I jump around hobbies. And like I was kind of telling you before, like at one point I did oil painting, and sometimes I draw, and sometimes I do this and that and the other thing. And I bounce around all these hobbies. And when you're doing this stuff, either you're never just at a steady state. You're either improving or you're getting worse as your skill atrophies from lack of use. And me sticking with 3D design as long as I have has been really, really nice. It's been really nice to get good at something.
I feel it. I feel you. I do that. Like I said, we were talking before the stream. Is like, yeah, same thing with like art, like drawing. Like I always have to have something that I'm doodling or whatever. Doesn't have to be something miraculous, but it's like that keeping the the motions and focus going, and you just
Yeah.
get better.
For the sake of discussion, would you be willing to pull up the Mark II Design Instagram?
Sure. I should have done that. That would have been smart, but instead I had your other website up.
We'll look at that too. Don't worry.
Let me go to Instagram. I guess help if my keyboard was on. Now, what was your first figure that you had in hand? I know you said you got a couple,
Like ever?
Star Wars. Like, what was your first? Like, what was your first favorite action figure?
Boba Fett, the mail away. Like, I mean, I had Luke, and I had I think I probably by that time Empire, right? That was from Empire, like the like IG-88, man. I thought that thing was so cool. But getting the mail away, the Boba Fett figure, that was just the greatest thing ever.
Better not play anything. I'm clicking on your stuff, but
So so it's been interesting. Like I really wasn't collecting anything 6-inch until Classified, and Classified just pulled me into 6-inch. So like I'm really trying to like focus all my efforts on like the 1/12 scale, hero scale, whatever, the 6-inch action figure genre. Like that's where I'm kind of focusing all my efforts right now. Like just again, because I'll just get distracted and do all this different stuff. So I'm truly trying to just kind of live in one place right now.
Now you're wanting Mark II Design Instagram.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me bring this up. That makes sense. Let me share this. And
Okay.
do you want me to just do full? Is this
Just go all the way to the bottom. So this, I start my Instagram account, and I think just before that had I had tried to draw something and I couldn't do it, and I was real pissed. So
a lot of freaking photos, man.
Yeah. So I decided I need to start sketching again. Okay, so those are pictures of my kids, and I'm not winning any awards with that shit, but it's fine. It's not so embarrassing that I didn't share it on Instagram. So it took me 2 weeks. Like I couldn't draw anything. I was so pissed every time I tried to put a pencil on a piece of paper, and it took me about 2 hours a day for 2 weeks, and I was able to kind of get myself back to that spot. But like that, it was hard. It was hard to just concentrate 2 hours a day for 2 weeks. That was brutal.
Did I cut anything off? I might have. Trying to zoom in because it's like cutting it up. But
I don't know. Anyway, I just for the sake of conversation, it's like you're either getting better or you're getting worse. And I went to art school. They're fine. So I went to art school in like 90, like after high school, I went to Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale. Nothing special. 93 to 95. And what I learned in art school was that a bunch of us had come in, and we thought we had like this natural artistic gift and talent, and we didn't put in any fucking effort, and we didn't get any better the whole time we were there. And then there were folks that went, And the course we were doing was it was advertising design, and then they kind of switched it to visual communications. But there were folks enrolled that like could not draw anything, period. And they worked hard, they applied themselves, and by the end of the course, like they were awesome. They were awesome. And all the guys that came in and thought we didn't need to put in any effort, like we didn't learn a damn thing. Like what I learned in art school is that you can learn to draw, you can learn to do all this stuff. You just need to put in the effort and take the time.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely effort makes a difference for sure. And I was sort of like that, you know, I guess I was more like that in high school and doing like art class and stuff. I was like, man, I don't need to do all this and that. And then come to find out, like, man, I need to really focus on some of this stuff. So when I hit college, they didn't really like when I was taking art class and stuff. We did like life drawing where you just had some naked dude or woman or whatever in front of you, and I would everybody just there's the pencil, just drawing it, and I'd
Yeah.
always add stuff to it, and it made the professor so angry that I'd be like, I drew like this weird like goblin on a guy, and she's like, well, why did you draw that? I was like, you don't see it. I was like, it's right there. Like I was that guy, but it's like, you know, I guess I wanted to have like I understand it's life drawing, but it's like, come on, add a little bit of creativity. Let some people's creative mind go.
Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to. It's supposed to be your interpretation, even though it's right there in front of you. You're still interpreting it,
Right.
you know. But anyway,
The-
so like, yeah, like those pencil drawings right there, I couldn't do that right now because I haven't put a pencil on a piece of paper in years.
And these are some of the stuff that you started to do for your game.
Yeah, that's those are all like anything that says BattleTech on it was stuff that I was doing for that game, and they're relatively basic, but like the things they were based on were pretty basic. Yeah, and then I started 3D printing. You can see that stuff.
Yeah, so that's cool that you have all this here because it literally goes with what you're describing. Like I started, is that Fallout right there?
Yeah, that's Fallout.
Love me some Fallout, old school
I
Fallout, the
love
original
Fallout.
trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, I remember buying the first Fallout game and just playing the hell out of it, man. It was
It-
perfect.
and
Well,
it
even
never.
before that, like I played Wasteland way
Okay.
back in the day.
Did you ever play Shadowrun back in the day?
Yeah. Yeah. The
All that
tabletop.
and XCOM.
Yep, love XCOM. I would love to see, especially the new XCOM games that are out, is take that engine and use that to create a GI Joe game. That's
I
the
mean,
way I think they need to go with it.
when that would be cool. Or even what I was suggesting is like, all right, so maybe let Gearbox or some of these first person shooters that sort of have it down. Why can't you have like a Battlefield or a Call of Duty where it's Cobra versus Joe's?
Sure.
And because they have all they have to do is watch the cartoons. These are the maps. Boom, boom, boom. Take it straight from the cartoon. I think Gearbox can make some amazing cell shaded stuff that looks like it's from the cartoon as
That'd be
well.
cool. Yeah, with cell
Different
shading.
different skins that you can get, which would be like your variants of Snake Eyes. You just can unlock them, or all games nowadays would be you'd have to buy it, but
Yeah.
but it would
But
be
I
cool.
I like those strategy games I like both. I would love to see both. But I would love a strategy, like a squad-based strategy game where like, the skills of the specific Joes you've got or Cobras like apply towards the whatever the mission you're on happens to be. Having an Arctic Trooper is good. Having a Toxo Viper or an Airtight is necessary for this mission, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, they tried doing that for like a mobile game. Like I downloaded that and was playing that for a little bit, but
That's
it was
all.
rough.
It's almost unplayable, that game.
Yeah.
I was
It didn't
so
it
excited for that game.
I was like, am I even playing against real people? Are these real people's bases? Because they're garbage. Like it it was weird. And
Yeah.
it was heavy pay to win stuff. But is
Oh
this
yeah.
the RV from Spaceballs?
Yes, it is.
Did you ever
Yeah.
print it out?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I printed
amazing.
it, got it paint. I don't think I ever put a picture of the painted one up. And so that's Tinkercad. I did that 100. All that stuff you're looking at so far is all 100% Tinkercad, which is it's through your browser. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to download it. It's I was completely self-taught.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look at that Lego mold set, like
Oh yeah.
straight up what everybody does. Like you got that pink rubber mold stuff. Did
Yeah,
you get
yeah.
the pressure cans too?
Yeah, yeah.
And
The
the,
top middle picture, that's a
oh,
vacuum
right there.
chamber for degassing.
Yeah.
That's a vacuum chamber. Yeah, and then the next picture, top right, kind of coming down, that's a pressure pot. That's a homemade pressure pot from a like a paint spray can. And again,
Nice.
this is a couple years ago. This is older stuff.
Yeah, I know. I'm just scrolling through it,
Yeah. Oh,
looking at it.
I did that tattoo on the right there.
Nice.
Yeah, it's my friend Josh. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's like I dabble in a lot of stuff.
My buddy George, he says, I think a tilt shifted G.I. Joe strategy game could be cool.
Tilt shifted. What's that?
I have no idea.
What's tilt shifted, George?
Toy Talk on here. Yes, let's go. Thank you guys for tuning in. My buddy George, he actually dabbles with some of the 3D stuff as well. He's been doing some stuff.
So I got not concerned, but like because I just been doing weapons, like I kind of didn't want to only ever do weapons. So I started I've done a couple of vehicles. If you go I like that next thing, I did not design that. I didn't do the fucktopus, I didn't do the Fallout.
It's called a fucktopus?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I made that for my wife. Um I don't even know what I was talking about. Oh yes. So I started doing I started doing a couple of vehicles. So like I did like a 112 scale Optimus Prime in truck mode, the FL86 Freightliner. And I wanted to the way I challenged myself in that one was I wanted to make something that could potentially look good as just an FDM print, which is the 3D printers that have the spools of plastic filament and it heats it up and extrudes it and
Yeah,
draws your parts.
the line printed stuff.
Yeah, yeah, the stuff that's got pretty heavy layer lines. So I tried to make something that you wouldn't have to paint. You could just print all the different pieces and slap it together, and hopefully it would look okay. And that turned out pretty good. I've done this the Cobra Claw. I've got a Thunder Machine. I'm going to be finishing that project up next month. I guess at this point I'll plug the Patreon. So like I had created it back when I was doing the Battletech stuff. I created a Patreon, and because I was me and kept getting distracted, I really didn't put the effort into it that it deserved or that I should have. And so it's just kind of been there unused for years. But now that I've finally decided, like I'm gonna do 112 scale action figure associated stuff, vehicles, play sets, accessories, that kind of thing. I'm kind of getting into the Patreon again. So this month, this is my first month where I've got a project and I'm doing a classified scale ferret. Some of you guys may have seen pictures of that on the Instagram and the Facebook. So that's my Patreon project for September. At the end of the month, the STL files will be available to the patrons of the appropriate tier.
I'll make sure I link all that stuff in the description when this is done, so everybody can get a hold of it. The Canuck said, "Hey to me, hey man," and he said that he met you at Valicon this year.
Oh yeah. I'm curious what day it was. It was a little rough. Like the first like Friday, Saturday, I was they kind of put me all the way in the back by the bathroom. It's just that's where I fell. And so traffic was really light for me. And a lot of people were like, they snaked around the place for like 2-3 hours. And then like they get about halfway down the road that I'm on, and I would watch them and they'd see the end in the bathroom right there. And they would just right past me.
Damn.
And then on Sunday, after some of the wrestlers left, they moved me over to like right across from the Valaverse table.
That was
That
nice.
was cool. Yeah.
George said tilt shifted equals makes things look like miniatures.
Interesting.
Maybe throw out a game, George, that uses that type so we can do that. Toy Talk did ask a question. Are your weapon packs for a certain 1/12 line?
No.
Anything that can hold those guns, right?
Yeah, they are meant to work with Marvel Legends. They're meant to work with Action Force. They're meant to work with G.I. Joe Classified. Yeah, they're pretty universal to 6-inch action figures. Yeah, and here's where I started doing the Joe weapons and Tinkercad. And like I look at those now and I'm not that I'm embarrassed, but they're very basic and I can do and I've mostly redone all of those now in Fusion 360, which is where I do all my kind of hard surface modeling now. That's my dog, that's Deuce. It's Maltese, he was awesome.
Jetpack, that classic, and it's on can I click on this? What happens if I click on it? No, you just see all the comments. But it's a little bit better. And you still do, and all this stuff, people can find this on your Mark II designs, like your Etsy, right?
Yeah, I think I've got most of the files up on the Etsy. A lot of those that you're looking at are still on Thingiverse, and you can just go get them for free.
Now, do you print these off, like if people want them, and do you still paint them? Do you still?
No. So like it's a lot of labor to 3D print and paint all that stuff. And I was doing that for a while. I did that and was selling, painted 3D prints on Etsy. And it's just too much.
This looks so good.
Thank you. And yeah, it's Tinkercad. It's a lot of work to 3D print and paint all that stuff, and it was just me. So at the end of the day, like it's expensive because 3D printing's expensive and it's wasteful, and the time is a lot. And so, like that Cobra Commander, the pistol in the pack, I was selling that for like $15, I think. I'm much happier selling, what I consider a superior product, this ABS plastic stuff, in a set of 8 for $13. Like I'm happier doing that. Period.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And so I was doing back then I was doing like I was streaming, I think on Twitch, and I was doing like how to 3D design kind of classes for Tinkercad. I met a bunch of good people that way too. Yeah, I was producing during COVID. I was producing like a YouTube cooking show with my friend that I was living with out in Maryland.
Oh. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was another thing where I started to finally get good at video editing, because that's another thing where.
And I went to go and try to video edit, like when I did my 1000th video as a collection video.
Yeah.
And it's overwhelming. I figured out how to dub over what I needed to do, and I was like, this is good enough. But I was like, the transitions and doing all this stuff, I'm like, it is super overwhelming.
Yeah, it's fun. Like we would do a 10-minute video, and like basically Sundays was my editing day, and I would get up at like 6 a.m, and I would edit this 10-minute video until like 9 or 10 at night, like all day, just editing this one short video. It was good though. It was a good learning experience, and I had a blast doing it.
You made yourself a helmet?
Yeah, I made a G.I. Joe helmet.
A grunt helmet. I mean, we can continue scrolling through this, or we can go straight to the top to like the newer stuff.
Just go to the top.
You're like, stop showing me my old art.
Yeah. Ugh.
Oh, if I can, come on, get up there. All right. So then you got, it's still not even all the way to the top. There we go.
No, yeah. So there's the Prime.
Optimus Prime.
That's the Freightliner. So I decided, like, so that was a FDM print. It's been sitting in my closet for a while. Yeah, over a year, I think. So less than a year. I don't know. A while. So I finally decided I'm gonna try and like finish it really nice. So that's one of the many projects I'm working on like right now. To the right, those wheels, those hubs are for that project, and that's where those are resin prints that I've kind of sanded and primed and sanded, and then I airbrushed it with Molotow, that chrome marker. They look amazing. I love that damn marker. Yeah, there's the ferret. I got that thing sitting. This thing's so big.
Yeah, that's like, I don't think people realize that with their demands of like 1/12 scale vehicles, like how much space they really are going to need for just the vehicles.
So there's that part of it, but also like the ferret was huge. Like if you look at it next to a figure, like what I did when I was trying to scale it was I put a Tomax or a Samot figure up against the back, and the back fender part, like this part here, is up to his shoulder. So this thing, like the ferret was just really big. I was used to looking at it, and it always just looked right to me, but I never realized how huge it is. Like I should eventually, I got to take a picture of it next to a his tank, and it'll be like, whoa, it's
Right?
it's
That
only
would
a
be.
little bit smaller than the his tank.
And then somebody Toy Talk said the table next to the bathroom gets a lot of traffic. He doesn't say. Not sure any games use that natively. Said that is Elden Ring. I don't know.
Photography.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
We got YouTube cooking. You gonna start a Mark II cooking for YouTube.
I don't have time. I would love to. We had a really good time with it. We had a whole like we smoked a pork shoulder for one of them, and it was all kind of based on Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, we had a good time.
The Canucks said that was a nice truck shot at Velafest this year.
Yeah, so the one I had there was actually 1/18th scale, so it was smaller, and that was my initial plan, was to just put the 3 3/4 inch Joes in it. But it upscaled really nicely, so I printed a few of those out as well.
Go big or go home, I guess.
Yeah, it's a big boy.
We need a Helicharger file and flame effects for wheels.
So so one of my many projects, I finished up my end of it last week. So there's a G.I. Joe Con coming up. I want to say it's the weekend of November 5th in Des Moines, Iowa, called Assembly Required. This is the 11th year. I've never been, but I'm going this year, and I'll have my table set up. But I'm doing, I designed a con exclusive weapon set. And it's all based on that Rock What You Got picture right there, that XMLR 3A, that G.I. Joe, like the Sumbo G.I. Joe laser rifle.
Yeah.
It's variations of that. So it was a really interesting premise that the guys running the con came up with. It was like, what if the original 13 Joes all had their own custom version of that gun?
Is that you as an action figure?
Yeah. So that's the Delta Trooper body, of course, right?
That's
so
dope.
There was a
wait. You did Laser Pants' all head.
Yeah, I did Laser Pants' head. So there was an app, and it doesn't exist anymore. It was called Face App. I had it on my iPhone, and it was really good. It was meant to scan heads, and it was actually, I think, designed for orthodontists. It was for dental stuff, but it was really good. It was really good at scanning heads. And I got a phone that could actually run that damn app. Like 2 or 3 days before Joe Fest 2021. And so I was just kind of playing around with it. And there was a couple people there who I tried to get scans of. And it takes a little bit of practice to kind of get it down. And if you like move your head a little bit during the scan, like it just messes it all up. And so I scanned like half a dozen people, including myself, and then like didn't touch the damn app for a year. I like remembered it one day. I was like, oh yeah, I should fool around with that. And so when I opened it up, a pop-up comes up and it says, we're shutting down the server in 3 weeks.
Wow.
So, you could scan for free, but then to download the actual, an STL or an OBJ, I think it might've just been OBJ files, that cost 99 cents. So I went through the scans I had, and there was only like 3 or 4 that were viable for me to go play with and try to 3D print. So yeah, Laser Pants, like Sunday night at that Joe Fest, he was sitting at the bar with Bobby and I think this guy Mike, who's a friend of Bobby. And so I was just hanging out with them. I'm like, hey, check this out. And he scanned his head, and it turned out to be, of the 4 or 5 scans I had that would work, his was the one that required the least amount of correction on my part to like go in and like ZBrush and tweak and fix. So he ended up being the first head that I printed, just out of me wanting to do the least amount of work to make it printable.
Right.
And it turned out pretty good.
Look at these claws.
Yeah, the claw was an interesting one. So I was just telling somebody else about this. I have one. So
We make you
a couple people have 3D designed them and printed them, but I wasn't happy with how anyone's solutions for how to make the figure stick to it. Because the peg, if the original claw had the peg in the back for the old 3 3/4 Joes, and that's what stuck them to the claw. But the classifieds, you can't do that because the peg holes are just all over the place, different locations, different angles, different sizes. So you couldn't do it that way. So I came up with like this rubber harness, and that's how I'm holding him in. Like between holding on to the handlebars and the harness, it's good to go, you know. So I didn't want to do it with FDM because I just don't like FDM, and it would just require so much work for me to like filler primer or glazing putty or Bondo and sand and blah blah blah. And I have all these all this detail that would just get jacked up if I tried to smooth it out that way. And it's too big for the resin printer that I have from tip to tip. I have a Elegoo Saturn, and so I ended up paying a company out of Chicago called Geometry, Xometry, and I had them make it for me with a type of printing called SLS, or selective laser sinistering, and it's nylon, which I'd never done before. It was pretty expensive, but I made molds of it, and it came and it's got like a texture to it. And at first I was like, that's no good, but then it sort of grew on me really fast, just having been around a lot of military aircraft during the previous career. Like nothing's shiny and smooth. It's all very matte. It's rough. There's a lot of non-skid on everything. So I ended up really liking it, and kind of went with it. So I made molds of that, and so I sell this on Etsy.
Yeah. Anybody that's a G.I. Joe fan, you need to get one of these claws.
They go quick. It still takes time, right? Because I like doing the mold and getting them cured and everything. Like I can only make like 1 or 2 of these a day. I make between 4 and 10 of them a week. And then on Mondays, I put them up on Etsy, and they go pretty quick.
And what do these run
now
usually before shipping? Because I know if I say
well, so
like
the way when I do Etsy, it's shipping's included in the
okay.
So I want to say they're 55. So I have two that I do. I have, like in that picture, I have an unpainted kit, and it is a kit. I would recommend sanding it. There's going to be some flash on there you might need to scrape off. You're going to have to glue it together.
You're talking about this?
Talking about that, yeah. So it's like it's a kit, and that's 55, and it's it's a 2-part resin cast made in a rubber mold in a pressure pot. It's durable as hell, but you need to put a little work into it to put it together. Yeah, and that's 55. And then I sell like a painted, fully assembled stickers and decals on it, or just decals. I want to say I sell this for 80.
And see, in anybody that might be like, oh, 55 this, but this isn't like a mass produced. This isn't a giant company. This is somebody that's like with art. Like I think that's reasonable for what you're asking, especially if you have to put it together yourself. Like that's
yeah. I'm not really making any money off of these things. So the like between the start of the project and me getting like the first one out of the mold and putting it together, from it's in my head and I need to design it all the way to the end, it cost me like upwards of $1,200 to get to that point. And it's not like I'm charging myself hourly for 3D design. You know what I mean? So it's just the materials to do the molds and the casts, and getting the good 3D print from a company, because I couldn't do it myself. Like it cost me some money. So
I just think there's a lot of people out there that don't really understand art still. You know, they just
yeah. I try to make myself available to people with small but interesting projects in mind. So I'll do commission work. And like most people immediately like hear an hourly wage that isn't minimum wage, and they get turned off pretty quick. But like it took me years to like get to the point that I'm at, you know.
We got somebody commented, smoke shoulder. That sounds amazing. Archie says he would love one. You know where to get it, RG. And then my buddy George, $55 is cheap for something like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did a 2-seat shark. which was pretty cool. Like some people, I don't know if you haven't ever had a shark in your hand, like it's pretty small. Like it was made to fit that deep 6-figure laying face down in it and nothing else. Like you can't just put a seat in there. Like the canopy won't close. So like those are pretty good size for the 3 3/4. And then I did one for classified, and it is huge. It's huge.
Wait, this is for 3 3/4?
That one is not.
Okay.
You want to see it? I'll go grab it.
I mean, if it's not too much trouble,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
who
like
doesn't
it's
want to
right over
see
there.
some?
It's
All right.
yeah. Hold on.
I'll bring this down. I'll put you as the main screen then when you get back. How's everybody doing as he's grabbing the shark? Hopefully, you guys are getting some entertainment and some knowledge out of this. You know, I know George, you do some of the 3D stuff too, so hopefully you're seeing some cool stuff. Oh, jeez. Judd, you gotta actually take orders for Art's order. Yeah, whatever. All right, I'm gonna go full screen for you.
All right. So this is the 3 3/4, and I can't get to my my actual original shark right now. It's in a box, but this is not quite twice the size of the original shark because it's got the seats in it. But I think these still work. Yeah. So I made some changes. Like the gun on the original was like a double blunderbuss thing. It looked like air horns. So I made this look like more like a real gun, but pretty cool. So you can kind of get an idea of scale. And then this is the classified one. So it's a little hefty. It's got a little girth. I wasn't able to get a clear canopy printed. Again, I don't have a printer large enough, so this is an FDM canopy that I painted up chrome. Yeah. So if you go to the Mark II Design YouTube channel, I filmed it's like a 45-second long like old school GI Joe commercial with my kids where they're playing with this. It's pretty cool.
That looked amazing. So then what's your opinion on I guess let's go in there. Let's take this down for a second. So companies that with their 1/12 scale vehicles, since you 3D print, you know, like if you were going to make multiple versions of that, I guess how can I word this? What's your opinion, I guess, on the 1/12 scale vehicles that are coming out in their prices when it comes to, let's say, a not a Hell Charger that should have been a Hell Charger?
I haven't paid too much attention to that. I know what you're talking about, but it's like I'm not a big Ghost Rider guy.
His tank then?
I am so excited for that.
Me too.
I thought there's some stuff on there that just isn't necessary. I don't mind electronics. I like, why would a tank shoot a logo out in front? Like that makes no sense to me. But man, I'm excited for that thing. It's probably priced right where it needs to be. Like the tooling on that thing probably costs just less than my house.
Yeah, I wish the first tier wasn't add-on parts.
I'm not in love with all the tiers. I don't mind. I like the idea of letting you have the retro look options. Like that's not a bad one. I was never a fan of the over weaponization of the GI Joe vehicles. Like the original Hiss was perfect. Like the Vamp was perfect.
You didn't want the rocket tubes on the side?
Later on, yeah, like the Rolling Thunder, right? Like it has this big tank turret in the back, right, with a big gun, and there's a missile on the gun. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, they started slapping missiles on damn everything, and it's just not. It's just that. As a kid, it didn't really screw up my suspension of disbelief, but it sure as hell does now. yeah, there's just some unnecessary stuff. All that aside, it's so much stuff is coming with that hiss now that I think we're getting what we're paying for
Five
sure. At
figures,
least,
five
you
figures,
know,
four figures.
I, 1, 2, 3,
We get
right? The Cobra Commander, the
Cobra
driver, and the
Commander
tactician.
and the extra one at the early bird.
The tactician, right?
Then there's the
Well, that's
gunner.
that
There's the
the
driver,
gunner's
the
the
gunner,
tactician. Yeah.
and tactician, and
No.
Cobra Commander. 4.
Okay.
There's all right.
That's
So I had the
awesome.
first driver, which is the male.
Yeah.
The early bird was tactician. Then they did the gunner, which was the female,
Yeah. I
and
thought
then
the
Cobra
female was
Commander.
the tactician. No?
No,
Okay. Awesome. That's
so
that more for me.
right, right.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're getting Cobra Commander. Everybody wants that Cobra Commander." It's like, no, it's the paint defect Cobra
I
Commander.
didn't
Come
want
on,
why
everybody.
are we getting yeah, they'll re-release him with a not Mickey Mouse. I would rather have not had the Mickey Mouse personally, but whatever.
Are you stoked for that Serpentor?
That air chariot looks so good. And here's the thing here's my prediction I've been telling everyone that'll listen. So if you look at those pics from San Diego Comic-Con, there's the guns that used to just be sticks with discs on them are now M2 like 50 cal machine guns.
Yeah.
So I'm predicting we get a retro carded roadblock with one of those, with the gun he should always have come with.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't mind the first roadblock was meh. Second one that I was
The
like, that's
big
heavy
tuning
duty.
fork.
I'm good with heavy duty. And then the
But it
third
wasn't
one,
heavy duty.
it wasn't
It
though.
should have been.
Technically, it should
It
have
should have
been.
been. And the third one pisses me off because artillery isn't a Gatling gun.
No.
Artillery is a thing you shoot over the horizon without line of sight. Like that's what artillery is. Like
Right.
why did they call him heavy artillery?
I mean, there's a lot
Like
of questionable things when it comes to some of their like weapon designs. They're like adding all these extra things to their guns because it looks cool. And it's like, do you really they don't really think of the logistics behind it. They're just like, oh, it sounds neat. It's military
yeah,
sounding. It's
yeah.
GI Joe. But yeah, like I look forward to that. I just hope it doesn't sell out. Like I was able to snag a Mindbender when that dropped early, when they accidentally put it up there on their site when people were doing their things, and I grabbed one of those. Because the classified line, I'm just super all in because I'm a GI Joe whore completely. Like I love my GI Joes.
I'm all in on that line.
So only thing I wasn't like the retro carded stuff. I got the Gung Ho. I got the Destro, which I wasn't going to open. I got a dinged up card, so I'm still not going to open it until I get a better card. Zartan didn't impress me enough for it. And then Storm Shadow, I had to pre-order because I'm like, I like the other Storm Shadow, but it's like when you see those wrapped arms and then the bare hands, you're like, how can I say no to that?
Yeah, I love every last one of them. So I've been telling myself I'm gonna like customize like vehicles and figures. I've been telling myself that for a long, long time, and it hasn't happened yet. Like I've got so much stuff I want to do. I've got just so much damn stuff.
George said he'd love to learn how to do some mold making.
Well, go get on my Patreon because that's what I'm doing. I actually posted today a kind of my ultimate guide to water slide decals. So that's up on the Mark II Design YouTube channel, and it went on Patreon first, but it'll be available to everyone. But like in short notice, a lot of the stuff I'm doing, I'll be doing like how-to videos, like not even just like the how-to, but like I want to make X. Why do I want to do it? How should I do it? What's the best way that I can do it? Like I'll talk through kind of everything. Like a big part of it is like tires. Like you can print them in TPU, which is like a rubbery filament, but that's not it. To me, it doesn't look right. It's rubber. It feels good, but it's still got those layer lines, and it's always kind of comes out a little glossy because of the temperatures you need to use to heat that stuff up and make it work. There's a 3D rubbery resin for SLA FDM called F69 that's rubbery, but it's really expensive and it's kind of hard to get successful prints with. or you can make a mold and you can cast an actual little rubber tire. And I'll kind of go through all of them and like here's why this one's the best in my opinion, and like this is how much it cost me, and here's how I did it. So yeah, I
That's
got
good. Everybody check out his Patreon. Go
yeah.
check it out, and his YouTube channel. He said he just watched CNC Kitchen where he showed being able to FDM print transparent with the right setting. Not sure if you could do it well enough for such a large cockpit cover, though.
Yeah, like I've yet to see a transparent FDM print that was truly transparent. Like you can certainly get light through it. You can certainly, if you've got the light's right, and your subject that you're trying to look at through it is close enough to it. But as soon as you back off a little bit, it's not quite great. I'll have to check that out. Maybe he's got the right filament and the right settings and the right way to finish it, and it turned out great. But I've yet to see a good FDM like transparent print.
Irrelevant Hulk said he needs a Serpentor.
I can't wait for Serpentor. I'm like Shipwreck is my that is my all-time favorite GI Joe, but like
so how do you
is like up there, man.
So with Shipwreck, how do you feel about how I guess at least for me, like I understand his original look.
Yeah,
like I understand it was
and
that era.
It's based on a uniform the Navy wore in like the 50s, 60s, 70s,
Right.
80s, early 90s, like when I first joined, called dungarees. Like that's what that uniform is. It's 2022, and that uniform is long gone.
I almost wish they would have gave us a little bit of alternate, like give me a at least like an
The knit
alternate
hat,
head
the
with
sweater.
the stocking at least or something. Or,
I mean, have we seen what it's actually coming with yet? Like no shit. There's like some
true. Well, we'll probably be seeing it at
There's like some
PulseCon.
great renders, I think I saw, but I'm not sure if that
it's
was
all 3D renders that we saw.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we're gonna see
an
more
alternate head would be great. I would rather see an alternate head than like the Lady J hair hat swappy thing. Yeah, alternate head would be great. And I have no problem with the Dixie cut. Like if and when I get that and or doubles or triples of that figure, like I will happily display him in his original Real American Hero.
Because I mean that's when you saw the lineup of Joes, you'd like there's Spirit, there's Snake Eyes, there's Shipwreck. Everybody sort of stood out in that lineup.
If they, I think they had to do it because that's the version that people instantly recognize and love. But I would personally not have been upset if we got a different version of that character.
But the Dollar General style.
Yeah, exactly. Although I don't know if that one came with poly or not. I don't recall.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
They had two different variations. They had the dark green, like a dark green.
Yeah, they had like an olive drab one.
So you got that. Like you're definitely a Joe person. I'm like, yeah, Dollar General. You're like, oh yeah,
Yeah, no, I made sure to get those things. Oh, I thought that Cobra Troopers, the black one, like that helmet, like for whatever reason, that helmet sculpt works for me. Like that is one of the best Cobra Trooper figures. Is that Dollar General one?
Yeah, those got ate up. Like it was hard to be a collector when that stuff dropped. Like people were just clearing it out.
I was so happy. Like I was gone so much. I was just deployed for so many years. I missed like all the Pursuit of Cobra. I missed it. I didn't know it existed until years later. I missed so much stuff.
Best line.
It no shit was the best. Not just like a GI Joe, but like those are some of the best action figures that have ever existed ever. Period.
Yeah, I mean, I got
Cobra figures.
I got some sort of laying around. I got like that. Came with that 3-pack Shock Trooper.
Yeah, so jealous.
But it's I just love all of those. Like
I've been slowly going back and trying to buy them, but like there's a lot.
There's a lot. They're expensive as heck. Like you can find some on Macari. One of my friends, Paul, he's actually been doing offers and he's been snagging them here and there. But like some of the heavy hitters are gonna be so costly. And then even like I hated that they went figure subscription. So like
say what now?
GI Joe did the figure subscription.
Oh, you like the Collectors Club thing?
Yeah, the Collectors Club.
Okay. Yeah.
Like some of those, I'm like, man.
I found out about that Collectors Club 2 weeks after they announced that it was done.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't think my mind understood it. like at that time I would see it when I was collecting them, but I didn't really understand what the heck it was.
Yeah.
And now I regret it because I was like Slice and Dice I missed, Kangor, big
Yeah.
Big Ben, like all like Cesspool.
I think
Yeah.
the like Worms was one of them, and I went and I got my hands
Yep.
on that guy. That's a gorgeous figure.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, there's
just so many that were released. I'm like, come on. I know I got a hold of a Big Lob because he was pretty like
yeah.
inexpensive, but
What I don't know how much they were. Like if you were actively subscribed at the time, like how much did they cost?
I don't know. I don't know. I want to say they might have been like $12 or
No
something, something
way.
ridiculous.
No, it
It
was
was
probably more
like
like 80 or something. Does anyone know in the chat?
I don't know if anybody's gonna know. I'm gonna check
No
on my
way they
phone.
were
If
12 bucks, man.
I think it
And
was
was
like
it
per figure though. It was like per figure. Like it was just. I'm gonna check though, because now I'm curious.
yeah. Trying to think of what else I got going. Got the ferret.
Okay, all right. Details behind the
Ferret
service that
stuff.
has been as followed. The subscription costs $294 if paid in full, or $98 per installment.
Is that like 290 something a year, or is that lifetime, or is that was that for per year? Like,
I think that's per year.
and how many
Let me
figures did they
see.
do per year? Like once a quarter? Or? Sorry, I know you don't know.
Each
I
installment will have a $3 processing fee added to it. The figures shipped two at a time will be packaged randomly, meaning they won't be announced ahead of time. I think it's per year. Like example 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. So it was basically $300 for 12 figures.
okay, yeah,
But
like
I
super
guess you
limited
can't
runs, gorgeous figures.
like that's
Yeah,
the whole set you would have got. And there was a one, I think when they started getting lazy towards the end on them, they started like, what were you releasing? But like when they were doing Slice and Dice and Big Boa and all them, you're just like, man, Desert Scorpion, you're just like, they're knocking out of the park. And it's just, you can find some of them still, but they're still going to be paying like 50-60 bucks if around there for some of those figures.
yeah, yeah. Oh man,
But
if I had a time machine,
right. But going back to sort of like the Pursuit of Cobra stuff, I just loved it. Like, when they re-released the Trooper with the Pursuit of Cobra line, he came with razor wire, he came with all his guns, he came with that pistol with the silencer, and the silencer was holstered into his pouch and everything, and into the gun holster and everything. And I just loved how it all just worked with the figures.
yeah, that was, and it was so quiet. I don't know how I didn't know about it until after the fact. I mean, I know, but like there was no hype that I was aware of. I wish I had caught wind of it somehow.
25th anniversary sucked me in, and then when they started doing, I think it's Renegades, the Renegades cartoon.
Hmm.
Like I was watching that here and there, but that's when I started noticing the stuff. And I remember like looking, I was in his tank, reaching out trying to find it, and somebody in the local area is like, "Oh yeah, I found like it was Sci-Fi Clean Sweep. Who was it? It might have been Doc as well." And telling right, either way, he found like a stack of them. He's like, "Oh yeah, I hit them in this section." And I remember rushing over to the store and not finding them and like panicking, like, where are they at? Like I drove over here. Where the heck are they? And the guy wasn't responding. And then eventually he responded and I found him. I don't think it was the same day. It might have been the next day, but that was the seriousness of the Pursuit of Cobra. Like people were just gobbling them up.
Wow.
Like you had to basically be buying them by the case off of retailers.
My younger brother got me the 25th anniversary like Shipwreck figure carded, and I think it had been like peg warming in like a record store or some shit for a while, because he gave it to me and I was like, what the fuck is this? And I remember like I went looking, like I would like that was like in the evening, it was like my birthday or some shit, and then like the next day like I went out looking for these things and they didn't exist. So that was like such a tease.
Wait, did you get the Copperhead and Shipwreck comic 2-pack?
Not at the time. Like
You have it now?
years and years. I have since acquired it
Okay, okay.
years and years later.
I was like, I
Yeah,
have it on the wall over there, and I'm like, huh. I was like, because that had him in his life preserver. He had
yeah,
the
with the
hook
life
over
vest.
there going over hitting Copperhead.
Yeah,
Um, and that's another figure we're gonna be getting from Hasbro is Copperhead too.
Copperhead. Yeah, yeah. I did not have the with a water moccasin and Copperhead. I did not have that as a kid. He was never one of my. He was never like my. I need to have this figure list, but he's a great looking figure, and the one they're making looks like it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. I
So
mean, I have nothing but great expectations for what they're pumping out. I mean, with Crocmaster and what they're pumping out, and it's like I understand the repaints. Like I'm not going to get the Crimson Bats because that doesn't make sense to me in my world of GI Joe. But I know a lot
sure,
of people want them to add it with their twins and stuff like that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
actually, I had my Crimson, three of my Crimson Guards are going to be showing up probably tomorrow. So
Really, where'd you get
yeah,
them from?
Big Bad Toy Store. They got an
No
early
shit.
chunk of them, and they shipped out. Yeah,
Damn, I
I'm
don't
like,
remember where
really?
I pre-ordered mine from. I'll have to look.
I was like, I always back up Big Bad Toy Store, and I'm like, I usually cancel everything out because I find it before it ships, and I'm like, that is the
Sure.
most ridiculous thing.
I hope we see some of those hanging on pegs, man. I really do.
I mean, I haven't seen anything around me. I haven't seen any bats or alley vipers when they were around. And it's been dry.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes
I
movie figures you can get a hold of.
well, a couple of them. You can get the
Akiko or yeah,
Kiko, whatever,
Akiko
and
Baroness.
the Baroness. That's it.
Yep.
Like I had wanted to get I bought them. Well, shit, I pre-ordered them from damn Pulse when they got announced. But I wanted to get an extra Scarlet to customize, and I would love for them to have hit clearance at some point, but they're still hanging at the original price everywhere, which is weird. You can get that Scarlet for like $10 on Amazon, like right
Yeah,
now.
and I regret I paid full price for my Scarlet, and I'm like, man,
I
you
I
got
bought
one
one, and
weapon.
I want to do I want to paint her like Quarrel,
That'd be cool.
the Action Force Scarlet from the 80s. So we'll see. We'll see if they work.
Yeah, I mean that figure was good. It just didn't come with accessories. The off-white Storm Shadow, I never got it thinking it was going to be my ultimate Storm Shadow. I was like, hey, this is just gonna be a random ninja I can have in there.
Yeah.
Because I mean the head sculpt's pretty good.
I
And
like
so
that movie, man. I thought like no
all right,
shit.
I'm ending
We've
the
got
stream right now.
three
I'm ending the
we've
stream right now. You're
well,
sitting
we've got three live action Joe movies.
right.
The first two didn't have any real actors in it. And this one did. Like ugh.
I mean, see,
It was is it the greatest movie ever? Not so much. But
I
I
liked
didn't
I liked Retaliation as that's my number one live action if I had to choose out of the three.
sure.
Not
And
not
I
really because of the Joe side of things, but I like the Cobra side of things.
so my issue happened right out of the gate when Cobra Commander announced that Destro was out of the band. That
It's those corny. It's the problem with those movies, man, is they don't know who they're like. We got to make it for kids, but we got to make it for adults. Like, just get rid of the kids thing. Go strictly adults.
yeah, yeah, and
Um,
the kids will like that more anyway.
yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
I'm sure there's tons of kids that seen those Deadpool movies and loved it.
bet your ass. Yeah.
But that was the corniness was bad.
They did a lot of things right, like the whole tungsten rod. This is how we're gonna blow up the Earth thing. That was perfect, Cobra. That was
Cobra
great.
Commander looked dope.
He looked really good. I really liked that outfit. I really liked that outfit.
I didn't mind Firefly, even though they changed it up a little bit. Like, you know,
So
I just wish he
I
would have kept his mask on a little bit more.
boom. I didn't like the stupid motorcycle that explodes into a bunch of rockets. Like that was a snap me out of my suspension of disbelief moment. Um,
I don't know why
what?
they chose the Rock to be Roadblock. Like,
Yeah, and
it
then okay, and then there's this whole thing where like uh the idea was that he was uh like a sergeant or a staff sergeant or some shit like that, and they wanted to make him an officer and like he was like turning down a commission, that is not how that shit works, man. Like, that's one. They don't. If you want it to get commissioned as an enlisted person, like you have to bust your ass to get it. Two, if they offer you a promotion in the military and you say no, there's the door, bro. That's just how
So you
it is,
basically got to
man.
take it or you're gone.
Yeah, I mean that's like, oh, I don't. What you're saying is I don't want the responsibility. That's what that message is. I don't want to get promoted. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that's the culture. Like so, like that, that shouldn't be a thing that ruins the movie for me, but it did. Like it's just stupid little things like that.
See, with the Snake Eyes movie, and I don't. Everybody's probably seen it by now anyway. It's like Snake Eyes was the bad guy through the whole
Yeah, he was kind of a
movie,
douche. He was kind of a douchebag. He
right?
was kind of a jackass. Yeah,
And
yeah.
and then the guy they got to play Hardmaster,
Too young, way too fucking like.
he was
Yeah, he
too
looked like a
young. But
goddamn teenager.
but have you seen the like Raid Redemption 2 films?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
This
Which is
mother,
why they got him, right? Like that's the
right? But
reason
they
he was.
didn't utilize him at all in that
No,
way.
no.
Like this guy's talented. If you guys haven't seen Raid Redemption, you guys need to definitely check it out. There's 2 of them. Watch them back to back. They're amazing. But he has so many skills, and I was expecting to see that when he sparred off with all those guys. I was like, yes, we got this. I'm going to see him work it. They did some shaky cam, cut to a different fight, came back, they were all down.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
yeah. I
But
like the actress that played the Baroness. Somebody had made me watch God, that Spanish thing on Netflix where they're
Money Heist.
Money Heist. Somebody had made me watch Money Heist. So I had seen that and knew who she was when the actress got announced. I was like, that's fine with me.
I didn't even mind the actress playing Scarlet. It's just the
Yeah,
use
yeah.
of Cobra and G.I. Joe was weird. It was weird.
It was I didn't hate. I wasn't upset about it because it
When they're
was
like,
supposed to.
hey, let's team up. Like,
Well, that
what?
part was a little.
Like,
Yeah, but I mean, they did that shit in the comics and in the cartoons, and that shit happened, right? Like, oh, that first movie was so bad with those fucking accelerator suits.
but at that time, Sigma 6, man.
Yeah,
Sigma 6, they had those weird like accelerator type of suits and stuff like that.
yeah.
But yeah, it was Snake Eyes with the mouth on his helmet.
Yeah. It's like the nipples on the bat suit, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
I
mean,
really liked the guy that they had play Storm. Actually, all the actors that have played the Storm Shadows to date have all been great. The guy, and I wish I could think of the actor's name. The guy in the Snake Eyes movie, though, I really liked.
He was in my opinion, the best actor in the movie.
He was the best part of that movie for me. He was fucking great.
Yeah. Like, hey, I'm bringing you into this family, and you have pretty much anything you want. You're gonna steal my bike. You're gonna go and do this. You're gonna backstab. Like, it's just like, man, Snake Eyes. I just want to punch you in the dick.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
But no, that's they were. I guess it's just some of the stuff. It's like, I guess it's like with all 3 of the films, you can pick out the good parts out of it.
Yeah.
And I think it's
At the end of the day, I watched the movie and I was entertained, and that was kind of it. We never got the Joe movie we wanted, ever, and it's likely never gonna happen, which is really too bad.
And they should have started it. That first scene should have been thick jungle, stalker, Snake Eyes. That would have been,
Yes. Yeah, that long range recon patrol thing, Tommy Stalker, Snake Eyes.
Yep.
That should have been. Yeah, if it was up to me, if I was to make the next G.I. Joe movie, that is 1000% exactly where it would start.
I guarantee you, if they started that film that way, people in the crowd would have been clapping and cheering before it even, like, right when that scene just hit the screen.
And so this is part of it too. I think maybe all of us have had if I was gonna do it, like Daydream.
Yeah.
It would be set. It would start out in the early 70s with that, and then it would be like the latest it would go would be like 81. Because that eliminates a lot of lazy writing with oh, well, we're gonna hack the whatever. Like, just stop with the hacking, man. Like, just write a better solution.
Right. And
Yeah,
viruses, nanotechnology.
nanotech. Yeah, no, make it grounded. So, and this is the other thing I talk about. Like, the reason the entire MCU works is because the first movie, the first Iron Man, Jon Favreau grounded that shit. It was filmed and done in such a way that it came across as believable. It didn't start with Doctor Strange going to multiverses. It started with a guy who could build shit really well.
Yep.
Sure, there was the arc reactor part, but like you saw him in a cave soldering and melting shit down, and it made it believable. It was grounded, and that's where a GI Joe movie needs to start.
Yeah.
In
I
my
can only
opinion.
imagine how much money they wasted on those movies. And there's so many independent like directors and filmmakers out there that could probably knock it out of the park or you know.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah,
But
I
Larry
would
Larry
make
Hama
it.
said that the Snake Eyes Origins movie, he signed off on it, you know?
Yeah, no comment.
With he also probably got a big old check.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, he may have it may have just been refreshing to him to see something new and different. Like I
True.
don't know. I really can't speak to it.
True.
But I would GI Joe came from the conflict in Vietnam. Like that's where
Yep.
that beginning thing was absolutely like that was the foundation for it. So like if I were to do it, that's where I would set it just after Vietnam.
And then since we're talking about GI Joe and stuff like that, even though I mean, hopefully people don't mind we're going on this rant about GI Joe, but since you're now involved with some of these communities and stuff like that, I mean, do you wish you would have got into the communities before the stats? Like, what? I guess what year did you get into these Facebook groups and stuff like that? How long ago was that?
2020, 2021, 2020.
Okay, so
Yeah,
so you didn't
missed a
get to
lot of stuff.
experience the groups before the man babies and the
No,
people have
I guess not.
like where everybody complains about everything, has their tantrums, and you know
Yeah,
that
you
ain't
know,
my figure.
maybe that's a symptom of just having too much time or something. I don't know, but no, I've found the groups that I tend to frequent are a bit more constructive.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
just
so
other
I don't think we've mentioned it during this. So like I and a guy named Artoine Poor out in Washington started the GI Joe 3D printing Facebook group. Um, Feel free to go check it out. You don't need to be a 3D printer or a 3D designer or a model builder or anything. If you are, great, because there's a lot of talented people in there, and we'd love to see more talented folks come over. But if you just want to be a voyeur, you're welcome to come and just check out the stuff people are doing. Like people are doing amazing ass stuff in this group. Just you're going to get asked a couple of questions, and you can answer them and just get in the group, or you can not answer them, and then I will send you a message in a week or so saying you have to answer the questions. So
that's how my group is.
yeah,
Mine's
so
like private, and you have to answer questions.
well, you got to try and keep out bots and scammers and stuff, right? So because there's always like the t-shirt scam that comes around every couple of weeks. You know, you try and keep them out and that
Yeah, or
nonsense.
it's
But
just really like for with my group, the Plastic Cannibals, I try to keep it like drama free, where it's just a
yeah,
bunch of collectors. Like my whole vision when I made the group was like we're all kids on the same block. Hey, I just picked up this figure. What'd you get? What'd you think of it? Like, you know, what are you looking for? I live over here. I could probably grab one because I seen it. Like trying to help each other out
yeah,
and not scalp. You know, a lot of times in my group, it's like, hey, you need this? I found it. Cost and shipping. You know,
yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah, I mean, there's more good people out there than there are negative folks or people that are just, tainted and whatever, which it's just those people tend to be loud.
very loud. And
Yeah.
I always go back and I'm like, you guys complained about the first wave and had your tantrum. Now we're getting the more OG stuff, which is okay. But I was like, are we ever going to see Pursuit of Cobra level of creativity?
Right. I think we'll get there. I think the classified line's got it's got some legs on it. I think we can see like years of figures from this line. And I think because of the rough start, and I only say rough start because of like the feedback the community gave, right? they've corrected the ship. They've gone back to giving us more of the original style figures, and I think they're gonna hit their stride, and we're gonna start getting those more creative things and those different versions and new characters. I think it's coming. I think it's not this year. It might not be next year, but I think we'll see some really creative stuff
I,
coming from
I
that
need me
line
a
eventually.
Moneybags Destro. I need him in that heavy armor with the minigun and that briefcase full of all the money.
Dude, like the iron grenader from that line is so beautiful.
Yeah, if you have him with you have that Destro and then two of those, at least two of those grenadiers next on each side of him,
Yeah.
it's insane. But yeah, like I have like off camera, like I have the wall of my Pursuit of Cobra stuff over here on card. And I used to buy some that were rock and stock, like right here where my fingers at. You can sort of see
Yeah.
Serpentor, Storm Shadow, and stuff like that. And that was the Renegade Storm Shadow, the one that everybody was hunting for. They came with a bunch of accessories, alternate heads, one of
Oh,
the best
really?
Storm Shadows. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I had a guy I worked at Best Buy at the time, and he wanted me to cover his shift. And I'm like, well, you want me to cover your shift? He's like, come on, man. I'm like, I don't really want to. He's like, I'll get you whatever you need. You need a figure? You need this? I was like, yeah, I need this. And he went on eBay and paid a ridiculous amount for me to work his shift. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
So I had one that I could open and one to keep carded.
Very nice. Well done, sir.
So that was yeah, I love GI Joes, man. And that's another reason I wanted you on here as well. Because what you're doing, and I'm gonna bring this up again, is you're making this stuff for the figures that are making us feel like a kid again. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. I like, I not be playing with the figures, but I enjoy swapping accessories around, and I like doing the photography. And yeah, it's nice to have these extra options to kind of put in their hands, man. And it's like,
yeah,
t- the success that I've had so far has been doing things that I want for me. And it turns out like so far anyway, like other people want a lot of the same stuff I want. So it's kind of worked out. So like
yeah.
this is I don't I have a different favorite every few
Yeah, let me
days.
bring you up. I'm gonna.
Right. So like that's the Colt master key it's called, because the little shotgun underneath, you use that to blow the lock off a door and breach. But this is 100% the gun that Billy carried in Predator. And I've never seen it at this scale ever. And and I wanted it.
You could just create it.
I'm so happy with it. Yeah, like that was the thing. Like I wanted to make some stuff I hadn't seen at this scale before. Like the M4 that's in here, that's my M4 when I was in Iraq in like 07, 08. So this is the Uzi. I've never seen one of these with the stock extended at any scale. Maybe at 1/6, the 12-inch stuff. So like I just wanted to have one with the stock extended. I just never seen it. And then like the micro Uzi, I've never seen this. The closest thing I've seen to this is the gun that the original Shockwave figure came with, and it had that big. It wasn't a suppressor; it was some kind of big muzzle. I mean, whatever that was. Yeah. G11, so like I draw from my military experience. I draw from like old GI Joe and comic books and stuff. I draw from the first person shooters that I like to play. So I have been sitting on weapon set C for a long time now. I really need sets A and B. I need to move some more of that product before I can pull the trigger on C. I've known what was going to be in C, and then enough time passed that I changed my mind, and then this is it. This is what's going to be in there, and then I changed my mind. So it's gonna like at the day I know 100% what's going to be in there is the day I tell the factory this is it. And it's kind of an interesting thing. Like I was selling 3D prints of these weapons on Etsy in 2020. and no one else was doing that. There weren't any other. There were no weapon sets. You know, the Gridiron wasn't around yet, and Thanatos Customs wasn't around yet. Um, I think the prototype weapon set that Avaliverse did, I think it came out a little bit. Yeah, it came out a bit later. So when I started down the path on sets A and B, um, there was nothing out there. Like there was no weapon sets on the market. And from the time I told the factory this is what we're doing until I physically got them in hand, like the market completely changed because there's now so many people 3D printing weapons at this scale. Action Force has put out the weapon sets A and B and C. So like the people's expectations drastically changed in that year, you know?
Yeah, but you also gotta filter out, like, there's some people that just they 3D print and their 3D prints aren't that good. They're not clean.
Some are and some aren't. Like the Gridiron stuff's pretty good looking, I think. And the price is right there with I think, not to toot my own horn too much, but I kind of set the price for what 3D printed weapons should be based on what's the lowest I can sell this at, and it's not a complete waste of my time, you know?
Yeah, I haven't got any Gridiron stuff in hand. I've just from just like their photos and stuff. It's just like I have a thing with like seeing the 3D print lines. Like to me,
Sure.
I'm just like, why not just like sand it, put something over it, and then like make a mold from it.
That's at this scale making because the molds I make are rubber molds, right? And at that scale, it's really hard to get
Oh,
a clean cast. It's
okay.
really hard. Like it's just a little bit of flash on something that small, and it just doesn't look good. I think their stuff looks pretty good. I think the 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 guy doing the design for them is doing like just what he has to do for 3D prints, right? Like they're a little bit stylized in that like there's some spots that need to be thicker to be strong with that 3D resin, and they do that. And yeah, I think they look great, but like you're saying, like they're 3D prints, and the problems that come with 3D prints come with those, which is cost. And the flip side of that is because he's 3D printing, like they can do like you can have like a holographic sight or a red dot that you can actually see through it because it's hollow. Like they can do just unlimited undercuts, things that you can't do with a 2-part mold. So they're able to get away with some pretty amazing stuff.
So everybody, do not buy from them. You can check them out, but we want you guys to check out Mark II Toys. And get those weapon sets.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I mean, again, like looking at these sets like these, you go to this website, mark2toys.com, and for $13, you literally can see what you're getting in the box. 13 bucks.
So for sake of argument, you see up above where it says partners?
Yes.
Yeah, if you could click on that, please. So I, with mark2toys.com, I'm only shipping to the United States. So I have a number of partners that I'm working with now, like Hard to Find Toys, a gentleman named Renee out of
All-time
Texas.
toys? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. I went and talked to the owner of that place but before I started selling on Etsy, because I was still having that debate about whether or not I should even try, like start a little business and try. And I actually talked to the owner of a place called Second Chance Toys with a Z. And I think I got a link to them on there too. I talked to him. He told me to talk to the other guy. So I went up to there, and I talked to him for a while, and he helped me make the decision to go ahead and start a little business and see how it goes. So Heroes World, it's at the bottom there. They're up in Canada, so they'll ship all over Canada, and they've got a gorgeous like brick and mortar store too. Big Bang Comics, another gorgeous brick and mortar, and they're in Ireland, they're in Dublin, and they will ship all over Europe. Yep, and All Time Toys right up by you.
Yeah.
How far from All Time Toys are you? You clearly are familiar with them.
Pretty much like maybe like 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay, yeah.
Since they moved.
They moved?
Yeah. Well, no, that this elders, but they were in Ellicott City,
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah.
the flooding happened, and unfortunately
Yeah.
had to
But that
move.
was a while ago. That was before
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
even, yeah. That was
But yeah,
before
no,
I,
that's awesome. That's a surprise right there. I was just like, wait, what? They're really
yeah.
cool because sometimes if I'm too lazy to drive over there, I'll just order stuff to deliver and it gets here next day. So,
Nice.
but that's awesome. So that's definitely some like right there. We're seeing them. I'm like, okay, I believe like Big Bang, Heroes World, like definitely worthy enough to check
Yeah,
out
yeah.
too.
Gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. And so
And
all
hard to
those are
find
linked. So
toys.
if you're outside the US, you can find one of them. They'll probably ship to you. I'm working on getting some folks in the South Pacific, like Philippines or Australia. Like I'm talking to new people, every couple of weeks, trying to just get the products out there. At the end of the day, I don't want to be in the fulfillment business. I want to be in the design business, right?
Yeah.
So partners is that's going to be just key if I want to, grow the business and not I don't want to have a bunch of employees working in a warehouse shipping stuff out. I'd rather have the partners kind of handle that end of the operation. So
Yeah. You
who knows?
basically
And
design it, you get it sent to you a copy of it, and then you check the list saying yes, you okay it, and then boom, it's made and shipped.
something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
I know I
That's the
made it
plan.
probably way, way easier sounding than it probably is, but
Certainly faster. Yeah. But I had talked to like Big Bad before product got shipped out here, and I'm still learning. Like I am 100% confident in the product and my ability to design and create this product, but the business side of things, I'm learning all the time. I had talked to Big Bad a while back, and like the first question they asked me was, "Is there, do you have a UPC on the label?" I was like, no. And it was just like they asked me a bunch of questions, and it was just like, well, and I'm just like taking notes. Like I got to learn how to do this. I got to figure this out. So I may reach out to them again, and or Dorkside and whoever else. We'll see. We'll see.
yeah,
But
Judd,
I know like
Judd.
Weapon Set C is going to have a damn barcode on it. I'll tell you that much.
It's Judd said you'll get Shipwreck and nothing else, and you'll like it at the price of $39.95, available exclusively at your nearest Walgreens.
It's not Polly. I'll pay the $40.
And then George, 3D layer lines always look worse on camera too.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's awesome. Everybody that's tuning in now, tuning in later, you guys need to definitely check out Mark II Toys. Check out the Etsy. All the information will be down below in the description. My question for you, and I'm sure other people may ask, will your guns ever allow removable magazines or having the holes for the muzzle flashes?
Definitely muzzle flashes, and I'm more less of a hole for a muzzle flash than a muzzle flash that fits over the muzzle. Kind of so Valaverse Action Force has kind of set the standard for what the hole for that muzzle flash is, and it's like 1.4 millimeters. The factory is not going to want to make anything with less than a 1 millimeter edge. So let's say on the FAL, because I've got this nice long barrel on this thing on the L1A1. So that's a pretty damn accurate representation of this weapon. So if I were to have a hole in the end of that barrel to accommodate a muzzle flash, that barrel would go from being about 1.3 or 4 millimeters to 3 point something like it would more than triple in size, and it no longer looks good. So like, and this gun right here, like I've taken a Valaverse muzzle flash that fits over, and it's fine. It fits right over it. It's not too snug and looks fine. That would be my primary solution for muzzles, would be over the tip. Yeah, there you go. There's a couple, like pistols are great, shotguns aren't bad. Things where it can look good with the muzzle flash. That's the only way I'll do it. I'm not a big fan of muzzle flashes personally. They're basically they're the 3D artist's interpretation of how a comic book artist has drawn a muzzle flash at some point. because muzzle flashes don't look like that shit at all. They do not. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of them, but I recognize that it's a play feature people like, and there's a demand for it. So I'm not going to ignore that. The magazine thing, I'm probably not doing a lot of removable mags. I'm probably
Yeah.
not going to do it.
When I started collecting, I was, man, I want removable magazines. You know, you get spoiled with some Mezcos, and then once you start getting into the Mezcos, you start getting into the Joes, and Joes are starting to do it. You're like, and then Action Force has tons of magazines. I'm like, do you really need all your guns to have removable magazines? Like,
So
you
my
don't.
problem with it is at this scale with the materials that are available in 2020, right? With the technology that currently exists and the materials that we're currently using, you have three options, which is you make the magazine smaller, you make the magazine well bigger, or a combination of the two, but the result is the same, and it's a less than accurate representation of the thing. So to me, I would rather have a very accurate looking weapon than having that play feature. And that's my personal preference. That's where I'm at. So I'm not doing removable mags unless something changes or there's a weapon that just really it works without having to like alter the design to accommodate it.
I think I just bullied
I
somebody
will
though.
do ammo belts though.
Ammo belts.
I'll do ammo belts all damn day. Yeah.
I think I bullied Judd enough. He says, "Fine, I'll check out the website." Damn, you are always spending my money for me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So yeah, muzzle flashes are coming. Not doing removable mags unless there's a something that it just really works with. Part of that other thing is like, I don't have an IP. I don't have action figures to go with this. So if you've got removable mags and stuff like that, like that's not an AK mag, that's not an M4 mag. Like there's no other mag like that. Like where are you gonna put it? Like because there isn't an action figure with a pouch that's gonna fit this magazine.
and honestly, like if somebody wants that shot or that display with the magazines, they have all those other ones. They can just put them on a table, just however they're doing it. It doesn't necessarily, like, how often we seeing people posing up their characters with their trigger finger hand trying to like put in a magazine? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I get it. Like as a kid, man, the closer you could get to like functionality of a real weapon, I would have been all about that as a child. But that's just not where I'm at right now. Like
but as a
I'm
child,
more.
the guns weren't nearly as accurate that you're trying to do. Like
Yeah,
you're seem definitely heavy on the accuracy bit of
yeah,
making sure that this is really the scale of that gun in that, with the proper details.
yeah. And I will definitely the next set will have deco as well.
Really?
So yeah, awesome. I'll have paint apps coming up. The thing I need to find is the right balance of like paint applications. I would love to get these as close to what I could paint something. But it's really like me painting one gun, I can do that way better than a factory making thousands, right? Like I can get like the perfect coat of primer and airbrush it just the perfect gunmetal and do like a nice wash and an appropriate level of dry brushing for highlights and make it look fucking amazing. The factory can't do it. They just can't. What I've seen is where washes are put on way too heavy and you get pooling. And I've seen like metallic paint applications that go on. And it's just like splots, like random as shit. And that doesn't look right to me either. So if I can get it done right, I will do that. If they'll do a wash or like a metallic brush and it looks wrong, I'm not going to do it. I'd rather not do it wrong, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly. And then George says, I like the commitment to the accurate scaling of the weapons. But yeah, I get exactly what you're meaning. And it's like, but with you doing, like, say, like you're doing the bait, like a little bit of paint you're thinking about doing, you think that's going to change your price point? Or I guess it all depends on
No,
what? Okay.
no,
You're-
no. I'm keeping this price point until I can't.
See, that's awesome.
And it's like I'll make less money per set adding deco, but not enough, not at the numbers that my tiny ass little company is doing to break me or anything.
I mean, tiny for now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I'd love to get my hands on an IP. Um, and I have ideas. I'm running with people. We'll see what happens.
See, that's gonna be it's gonna be awesome, man. I mean, the gun sets that you have are phenomenal. The previous work, like I remember seeing your Etsy stuff before this even dropped, and I was always like, man, he did, because if I'm not mistaken, you did the laser tag helmets from the 80s too, like
Yeah,
the guns and
yeah.
everything. And I'm like, man, and you did Firefly's gun and the backpack, like you were doing a bunch of stuff, and then now you're doing this. It's like it's such a change in a good direction, and it's awesome to see that you're able to do this. And all these guns in hand are solid, no drooping, no warping, and they come in a very collector friendly style packaging.
Yeah, I made the package to be the same like height and width as the classified box. So like they fit on a shelf nicely together. Or if you have a stack of them,
Yeah, I mean, even just like
they
with
marry up
this,
nicely.
like, okay, I'm done with this gun for the photo shoot or whatever. It just pops back in. None of this stuff is falling out.
Yeah.
And then you got the little cover over it. I mean, it I think
So
it's
so
awesome.
the one thing that I didn't like completely do myself is the label. So the guy named Jay, who is my roommate in art school, and he's an art director at a company now. Like I kind of hit, I don't want to say writer's block, but like I knew what I wanted, but I couldn't make it work. Um, so I was able to just from the actual 3D design, I was able to provide in the line art and the logo and everything. And he came up with the blueprint idea and nailed it. Like I love is it, it's a little thing, but like I love the labels on here, and he fucking nailed it.
I think the labels say everything about you and what you're doing with your company. I mean, it's sort of like, all right, it's a blueprint, but then it's like also like, all right, you're dealing with 3D stuff that's sort of in that like realm of like it, it looks good. It looks
Nice.
really good.
Yeah.
Now here's a question. Why is B over here and not over here?
Because this is through Shopify, and I did
Oh,
A
okay.
first, so it just
Oh, it just shifts it over.
it just shifted it over.
Oh, okay. But all right. Well, I mean, anybody have any questions for Mark before we call it? I mean, I
Yeah,
didn't realize we already hitting 2 hours.
you're at like 2 hours. Yeah,
Jeez. But anybody have
I'm
any
hungry.
questions before we call it? And I do appreciate you spending that 2 hours in chit chatting. And
Oh, I had fun.
uh,
I had fun going down the GI Joe movie rabbit hole with you.
yeah, that was, yeah, right there is probably like a good 15, 20 minutes, maybe
Yeah, right.
longer. Nobody's saying anything,
All right. Yeah, they're falling
but
asleep.
they could be. They could
I
be.
bored them to
But
death. Yeah.
no, you didn't. Come on. There is no way. Like the whole time I was like at the edge of my seat, like enjoying the conversation, enjoying what you're talking about. And it sort
Oh,
of
thanks.
opens it up to a lot of people, because I know some people in the chat are dabbling with 3D, ZBrush, stuff like that. So you opened it up to, some easier, like the one program you're talking about. And plus, a lot of people aren't aware of the
Tinkercad,
options.
Tinkercad through your browser, free, easy. Teach yourself. That's the
There you
best
go.
place to
And
start
or
3D design.
and you got your Patreon that we're going to do down below. I'll get all those
Yeah.
links. Um,
Yeah, they Mark II Toys is it's my attempt to start a real legit toy company. That's the thing I need to push. But like at the end of the day, I have all these other projects in my head I want to do. And so Mark II Design is kind of my vehicle to still do those things. And then I've just really kind of fallen in love with the collector community, and I love talking to customizers and learning from them, and people learning from me, and it's really great. So kind of from that's where the kind of Patreon's coming from. So
awesome.
I'm excited. Like I'm this is my job right now, and I am happy as hell getting up every day and coming to work. So
And
living my best
that's
life.
great, man. And every time you do a drop or you want to announce something, I mean, you're more than welcome to come on here. It doesn't have to be 2 hour talk, but and I don't care if it is a 2 hour talk. Like it happens. It happens. It definitely has happened.
Cool.
And so I guess, no serious questions were asked. There's nothing really asked seriously. So I guess where can people find you?
So I exist as both Mark II Toys and Mark II Design, and you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere.
All right, awesome. And again, I'll be linking down below so you guys can click there. If you guys are too lazy to search for it for yourself, I'll have all the links down below for you guys. And I do want to thank you, Mark, for being uh, my first guest and my stream that I'm going to try to do weekly, state of the art. So I do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule from your family to do this. And I want you guys to everybody that's watching. I mean, definitely go check out all those links. Go to Mark II Toys or Mark2Toys.com. Get these weapon packs. I mean, both of them together are less than a classified figure or a Marvel Legend. So definitely go pick them up. And as I say to all of you, thank you for tuning in. And I want you guys to have the best luck hunting. Keep on collecting and have a beautiful day.